Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. We are inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, and just a good, wholesome company that invites us to their Christmas party, Joe. We'll be there on Thursday. They've got good food. There's no generational trauma based on their holiday meal. That's Copiers Plus. Homegrown, local, corporate champion.
Tell me the difference between being of Italian descent and Cuban descent, right? When somebody feeds you a bad meal, that's disrespectful. I'm not really sure why you struggle with this.
I'm not struggling with
it. It's a personal affront, man.
No, it's more so that
it's a personal affront.
It's more so that I'm surprised that affected you that badly. That's all.
Oh,
but we'll be treated like family on Thursday when we go visit Copiers Plus out in Fayetteville. Very much looking forward to that. It is a Monday. Anybody can podcast on a Monday. And folks, wait for it. We have a lot to get into today, including some Thanksgiving leftovers with ACC hoops with NC State, North Carolina, and Duke. There's a lot to catch up with the Carolina Hurricanes as well. While we were gone, some things that we didn't really discuss, like the apparent Andrei Svechnikov drama or the Canes fans' civil war over goaltending that's unfolded in the last 2 weeks. I have. Wait for when we get into the Thanksgiving leftovers portion of today's podcast. I have like a word of advice for some Canes fans, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. Maybe even a little high school football mixed into our Thanksgiving leftovers. Of course, Carolina Panthers continue to not make a lot of sense, but hey, here we are with 7-6. We'll get to that. But we do have some college football things that we must address.
You missed it
right out of the gate.
It's a Monday. You drank a little bit too much on Saturday.
I did, actually.
Speaking of things that don't make sense.
Oh,
well,
yeah, I'm off my game.
Let me tell you, the ACC Championship Game, we've got Duke against Virginia. Just on the surface, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, time traveler from the beginning of the 2025 season, let alone, I'm sorry, the tiebreak gave us what now?
Yeah.
It spit out what? Look, even though as I tried to explain it to you,
yeah, Joe, love
in
you.
In real time?
Love you, mean it. But I know you get wrapped up in tiebreakers. That's kind of a kink of yours.
It is.
Totally understand.
It is.
There's something on the internet for everybody.
Yes.
Got it. But I will admit that your poking around of the tiebreakers didn't really move the needle for me because I'm like, it's not like, come on, there's plenty of football left. We're getting too deep in the weeds. It'll sort itself out. I was wrong. So if you're watching on YouTube, I finally went to the ACC website to like, how far deep did we go again? Because you're right. I was a little tipsy on Saturday night while the Cal SMU game was unfolding
in real time.
I mean,
I'm not blaming you for not being able to follow what was happening.
Hold up. Wait, what's happening right now? Anyway, I did not realize we had to go all the way down to 3 or more team tiebreaker scenarios, A through G. We got to E. I didn't realize we got that deep into it. We'll never get to G, by the way. The participant shall be chosen by a draw as administered by the commissioner or the commissioner's designee. Okay. Could it be us?
That would be amazing.
Would Jim Phillips invite us to the office in Charlotte and then we pull the names out of the hat?
Might be Aaron Beard or Josh Graham before us.
But, that's true. That's true. Shout out to Jeff. But the reason we would never get to that is because in scenario F, the tied team with the highest ranking by the team rating score metric provided by Sports Source Analytics following the conclusion of the regular season games. How rare would it be that we would still get multiple teams with the same analytics score? You see what I'm getting at?
Sure.
So by the time we got to G, that's really, really rare. I see why they finally make it after F. But yeah, combined win percentage of conference opponents is how we got here and how Duke ended up participating in the ACC Championship Game as a 7-5 team. And
well, their overall record's immaterial. You had 5 teams tied at 6-2.
I get that, but 7-5 matters here because that's the thing that people are focused on because of what it means for the college football playoff, which we can get to.
You mean when I told you,
yes.
What was it 3 weeks ago?
You told me 3 weeks
There was
ago.
a non-zero chance. I mean, goddamn, I like being right, but
it's like,
I'm not even sure I like this because I was like, well, they'll be 8-4. Oh, no. They will not be 8-4.
I mean, the reason why I was kind of like, come on, dude, let's not get crazy. That was literally 3 weeks ago, and things tend to sort themselves out.
Yeah, they normally do. Normally. Speaking of things that don't make any sense.
But this is the ACC, and once again, we are reminded, oh, you thought by getting rid of the Coastal Division that we would not have these kind of dumb scenarios play out. Well, the joke's on you. The Coastal Division has infected the entirety of the conference, and that's how we end up with Duke and Virginia in the ACC Championship Game. For the Duke fans in the audience.
Here's your math, by the way.
Real quick, for the Duke fans in the audience, everything going forward, understand, I'm not knocking it. I'm not hating on it. I'm not saying you don't belong. I am not of the mind of what, if you could pull that off the screen for a second, I'm going to pull something else on the screen here. This is from Nicole Auerbach. Nicole Auerbach is
big fan
the
of
Athletic, and we're huge fans of Nicole, but I thought this post was ridiculous. This might be an unpopular take, but if I'm the ACC and Cal upsets SMU, which they did, I override the tiebreakers and put Miami in the ACC Championship Game against Virginia. That's ridiculous.
That's NASCAR.
That's Big Ten. That's Big Ten. But I forgot when the Big Ten does it, and I know she works for the Big Ten Network. When the Big Ten does it, nobody blinks an eye. Well, of course you got to put Ohio State in. We just changed the rules.
That's right.
Let's just do that. We got to change the rule. When the Big Ten does it, it's all good because the Big Ten.
I'm like, this happened though in real life, right? It was the Ohio State.
It has happened. But if the ACC were to do what she did, the ACC would get booted from college football altogether. Nobody would ever take them seriously. Less so than they take them seriously now. So that's I think that's way over the top. If you want to change the tiebreakers going forward to better position the ACC to put the best teams in the ACC Championship Game with an unbalanced schedule, well, then revisit it this offseason. But not now. These are the rules. Follow the rules. Duke, by virtue of the rules, belongs in the ACC Championship Game. So I'm not knocking it. If anything, if I'm an NC State fan, I'm looking at Duke going, so hold up. Hold up. Dave Doeren's coming back for season 14, which we'll get to in a little bit. And this man can't even ass backwards his way into an ACC Championship Game like Duke just did. So credit to Manny Diaz, credit to Duke. They put themselves in a position to have a chance, and now they're here.
It's kind of wild.
So bring up the math.
Duke and Miami are in the same conference. They had 2 common opponents this year. They're in the same conference. 2. Syracuse and NC State.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So that's how you get yourself into this situation. It's just a strength of schedule tiebreaker. I know some people are like, oh, Duke gamed the system. No, Duke didn't come up with the tiebreak.
No.
Duke was just playing the teams who were in front of them. Yeah. I would like to hear the words from you that the schedule matters now, but maybe I'll hold my breath in our eternal debate about what the schedule does and doesn't mean for a team. But here you are. Duke's opponents in league play this year were 32-32. GT and Miami, both 28-36. Pitt and SMU, both 27-37. So it actually wasn't even that close.
No, it wasn't.
Duke's opponents. And of course, math is math. Duke didn't game the system. Duke just happened to win the games.
I'll put it
that were in front of them.
I can put it even more succinctly. Of the ACC common opponents and the win percentage, Duke's schedule in the ACC, they played 2 teams with a sub 500 conference record.
Right. Carolina
and Syracuse. And they all beat Syracuse, of course. Everybody else had 3 or 4. It really comes down. And again, that's not gaming the system. That's just the way the schedule was spit out. That's the strength of schedule, if you will. Now, as it relates
to our long-standing debate, though. Are you ready? Because this is actually the answer.
I mean,
no, I'm ready for. Let me have this moment, please.
What moment are you having?
Duke is 6-2.
Yeah.
They played 2 of the teams who tied of the 5 teams.
Yeah.
Who finished with the same record as them or above them. They lost both of those games.
Mm-hmm.
They won all of the other games. So they did the thing that you said, got to take care of business no matter who's in front of you.
That's Virginia, honestly.
Both. But they did the thing that you said, you still got to win the games in front of you, right?
Yes.
But they also, inarguably, benefited from not playing any of the other teams.
That's fine.
Inarguably.
But that's a byproduct of the imbalanced schedule.
For everyone.
For everybody.
And it's not just the ACC. This is something I don't think people understand.
No.
The SEC is a mess. The Big Ten is a mess.
Yes.
When it comes to this and having common opponents and being able to compare teams that are in the same conference. It's wild.
So I think it's not an eternal debate. It's just that you're a little too binary on this topic for my liking.
That's fine.
You're a little too 1 and 0 for me on this one. to me,
there is a nuance. I agree. You still have to take care of business.
You can give me the schedule all day. Let's go back to ACC kickoff, where I had floated the Tom Fornelli.
Yeah.
Tom Fornelli from Cover 3. I was listening to the Cover 3 podcast on the way to Charlotte. And Fornelli, just for shits and giggles, just threw out, hey, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but why wouldn't I put $5? I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I put $5 on Virginia for a title game appearance based on their schedule? Okay.
Of course, this all for us stems back to Carolina and Carolina's schedule.
So Fornelli, everybody kind of laughed it off, but I saw what Fornelli's point was. If you're just taking a flyer on a team, yeah, you look at the schedule and say, hey, why not? It reminds me of the one time I actually went to a sports book in Las Vegas, and I took incredible odds on Georgia Tech showing up in the BCS championship game because they had a difficult schedule and they were supposed to be good that year. And if they took care of their schedule that year, they absolutely would have been in the BCS. And I got like crazy odds for $5. So from a gambling perspective, totally understand. I think that's where you and I start to differ. You got too much gambling brain rot.
No doubt.
And I don't. So you're obsessed with the schedule with this kind of stuff. You still have to go out and take care of that business, which is what Virginia did, and nobody expected them to do.
Which is what SMU couldn't do on Saturday night, quite frankly.
Yes, it's what NC, and that gets back to
Cal
NC
fired
State.
their coach, Joe.
I know.
Cal lost their rivalry game the previous week. There was absolutely zero reason for Cal to show up and win that football game.
And this is where, if you want to get into our eternal debate, it's like even in these scenarios with imbalanced schedules and a 7-5 Duke team getting into the ACC Championship Game, and all this time Dave Doeren's been at NC State and not once has sniffed this thing. Okay, it was there for you this year too in the imbalanced schedules. But you lost to Virginia Tech. You know who didn't lose to Virginia Tech?
Last year was truly their easy schedule year.
Sure. But you get my point. This happens all the time. You lose these games you're not supposed to lose. So
I have no retort for the Boston College and Wake Forest, the annual Boston College and Wake Forest. So I have Glenn from Color Graphic working on a cycle of Dave Doeren for us to post into the studio.
I cannot wait.
Because this guy's
got to go.
This guy's not worthy of being in the studio anymore. You don't respect the state, man. You don't respect the Big Four. So I can't, actually.
Yeah. You can take it down. No. You're going to make a mess.
Okay.
We can do it after the show. We can do it after the show. No, but what I'm getting at is if you want to get into what we constantly debate about, it's your insistence that NC State has somehow been wronged by being in the Atlantic Division, that NC State's been wronged in some form or fashion in the last 13, 14 years, and now 14 years with Dave Doeren. And I've been telling you, no, because I can point to all these other examples of teams finding their way in the situation where NC State couldn't. You see what I'm getting at?
It's hard to argue right now when Virginia and Duke are in Charlotte to play for the champions.
Thank you. That's what I've been trying to say.
Not going to sit here and argue with you.
That's what I've been trying to say. Now, as it relates to the college, I'm more focused on the college football playoff implications of this ACC nonsense with the championship game.
Oh man, Jim Phillips, what are we doing today? What are we doing today?
You have to.
How many phone calls are you making? Or are you just rooting for? Or do you just rig the fucking thing?
Yeah, this
and make sure Virginia wins.
This is where we get Nicole Auerbach. Basically, Jim Phillips needs to call Swafford and say, "Hey, so when you needed something to happen,
when you needed State to lose,
what did you do? How did you?"
Remember Carolina, the offsides on the onside kick.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the call came from within the building on that one.
Yeah, because they needed Clemson.
They did.
They needed Clemson. Like, nope.
Swaff knew, man.
He knows
Swaff knew.
Swafford's looking at all those Clemson guys. You still mad about me in the 80s? Still mad about that? When I was the AD at UNC? Anyway, for the college football playoff,
they had Virginia at 18. So
getting back to what you were saying, there was a non-zero chance. This is where I will concede to you. Yeah, man, you were right about that. I dismissed it. I've seen way too much football to believe into the 3-week, crystal ball. You were right that there was a non-zero chance because here it is on Saturday. And I got to imagine that if you're Jim Phillips, you need Virginia to win convincingly against Duke to make this a non-factor.
No, you don't need them to win convincingly. You just need them to win because Virginia is 10-2 as we speak.
Okay.
If they win, they're 11-2. They're a conference champion. You can easily. Also, the committee has Virginia going into this week at 18.
Yeah.
They don't have James Madison ranked. So you can't magically jump Virginia with James Madison based on Virginia winning the ACC championship.
Sure.
But you can magically jump James Madison over Duke, who you don't have ranked. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how Virginia wins. They just need to win.
Well, the thing about Duke is if you flip the Illinois game, you flip the Tulane game, heck, flip the UConn on the road game, maybe we're not in this doomsday scenario. This is where the onus gets back on Duke. Like, come on, man. You have to win some of these games if you wanted to be taken
I'm not
seriously.
mad at Duke today. I know we're going to get to a phone call from Ben.
Yeah.
Listen, man, the balls to create your own trophy.
Oh, it's
and
fantastic.
then win it in 2 years in a row.
It's fantastic. But here, to wrap the point on the college football playoff, though, before we start taking some sports phone calls and getting to Carolina and NC State. If Duke wins, Miami can still. They're not going to flip them, are they?
No, they would. Miami would have to jump Notre Dame.
So it's not happening.
Right. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see how the committee positions this on Tuesday. But I don't see the ACC getting a team. Like, I don't see Miami taking the place of the champion because the champion gets replaced by James Madison. It's not being replaced by an at-large team.
Right. I can't.
Miami needs to get in as an at-large team, and they need to knock an at-large team out. Now, if you put Miami, Alabama, Texas, and Notre Dame on a line, I can make a very strong argument for Miami. And in part because, remember, one of Texas's losses is to Florida.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what that room looks like. Because remember, I do believe Alabama is going to lose this week to Georgia.
I agree.
Now, you can't punish them, right?
No.
Based on the SMU rule from last year.
No.
But if we throw them all in a hat, I see Alabama getting in for not playing, right? We're not going to punish them for playing an extra game.
Yeah.
Right? But the data is still going to say they're a 3-loss team. The data is still going to look at Miami and go, they're a 2-loss team. And you're going to go, no, wait a second. Alabama and Miami, do they have any common opponents? Oh, yeah. Look at that. They do. Miami beat Florida State. Alabama didn't. And for everyone out there saying that was week 1, you can fuck straight off. The data points are the data points. I'm not saying you go based on head-to-head. I'm saying if we're sitting here in a room and we're having a productive conversation and an argument, I'm sitting here pointing to all of these things and saying to you, these are the things that Miami did. And by the way, the one thing the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee always gets right, they almost never reward you for losses. You should never be rewarded for losses.
The SEC.
It should be all based on what you've done and your wins. Okay?
Yeah.
Texas, that's awesome. You beat Texas A&M. Well, we have a common opponent. Guess what? I beat them. You didn't.
Yeah, the SEC is trying to convince everybody that you should be rewarded for a quote-unquote quality loss. Just get that crap out of here.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
You mentioned Ben. Let's go to that 540.
Hey guys, it's Ben from Bull City Coordinators calling in about this Duke appearance in the ACC Championship Game. This is ridiculously on brand for what you guys have been telling us about this conference, about this triangle for years, right? It's not a 10-2 team. It's not an 11-1 team. It's not, some team that had been on this great run of success all season or got hot late, rattled off a bunch of wins. It is a triangle good 7-5, 6-2 in conference team that got obliterated by Illinois that is going into the ACC Championship Game on a weird series of tiebreakers. I love it. You guys should embrace it and be all about it. It proves everything that you have said to be correct about the ACC and about the triangle. But I do want to say, as a guy who has given a lot of grief to Manny this year for the way this team performed at times, Diaz, head coach at Duke, has more conference wins than Elko did. He is tied with Spurrier for conference wins. If he wins one more game, he'll have more wins here than Elko. And by the way, for Manny to do this, to pull this off, to be 2-0 against Carolina when Mike Elko, the man who left, couldn't beat Carolina, can't beat Texas, 0-4 in rivalry games, and the guy that Miami fired you to hire has not gone to Charlotte yet. that is amazing. That is an amazing thing that Diaz has pulled off. I just got to say, lots of respect.
Also, Manny's 11-5 in 2 years. Spurrier was 11-9-1 in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not shortchange Manny for what he's done. In those 2 years.
Yeah. No, it's impressive. It's impressive what he's been able to do in 2 years at Duke. Moving on, going back to the sports phone. Let's just get right to it. Do a 336.
Giglio, what happened? It's Sunday. I was depending on your inside sources and sources that I've heard from other places that Doeren was going to resign and Boo was going to allow it after a year. What happened? Is Boo just being Boo and he doesn't have the balls to make the move, or is it that Doeren is sitting back saying, yeah, I won again and I have 5 more years?
All right, so he's got 4 more years.
I was going to say he's got 4 more years. Still, point made.
Here's what I think happened. Dave Doeren in crisis mode, because some people say, oh, I love salty Dave. No, you don't love salty Dave the most. You love crisis mode Dave Doeren the best. Because after they got smoked by Pitt, they're sitting there at 1-3 in the league, 4-4 overall, after just a miserable performance against I want to say a very ordinary Pitt team. I know they went 6-2 in the league, but that was a true freshman quarterback that they made look like Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Okay. That on the heels of that was a 29-point loss to Notre Dame. So you're sitting here, if you're Dave Doeren, you're sitting here like, what do I want this for? Meanwhile, you got people mad at you for ECU, Virginia, and Wake wins, not losses, wins. Okay. At that point, you're sitting here saying, what am I doing this for? I don't need this. Because remember when we talked to him in Charlotte, it was, this is a year-to-year proposition now for me. If I enjoy it, great. Well, guess what? They've won. Oh, and by the way, before they went and played Georgia Tech, he said, I hated coaching last year's team.
I was just about to say he went on his own radio show.
On his own radio
was
show.
Not a press availability.
Said,
he was on his own radio show and straight up said, I hated last year's team. I like this group.
I hated coaching last year's team.
Yes.
A little bit different. But yeah, and also like I enjoy these players.
You could put the semantics all you want. When you're saying that out loud on your radio show and you say the word hate, I don't care. You can throw in the qualifier of I hated coaching this. No, you hated last year's team. Just straight up.
To the point where I believe last year, I know last year he was ready to say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Sure.
We talked to him in Charlotte. He says this is now a year-to-year thing. You're here at 4-4 after a terrible loss to Pitt and Notre Dame, and you're going, what am I putting up with this for? That's where I suggested just shut it down. Just be done with it. That, keep in mind, I wasn't reporting that he was retiring. That was pure speculation. I was reporting last year. Yeah, absolutely. He had to be talked out of retiring last year. They go on this run. They beat Georgia Tech. It's the highest ranked win he's ever had. They're at home. They have an unbelievable performance. They pour it out, beat them. Go to Miami, get smoked, come back, bounce back in crisis mode, beat Florida State, and then, of course, end the year with the win, his annual win over Carolina. You know what? He looked around and said, and he said it to his credit, when he said he hated coaching last year's team, he said he then named every player on this year's team who he loved and loved coaching. Hey, man, it's a year-to-year proposition. If he's enjoying it, cool. All I told you was it would be Dave Doeren's choice. And guess what it ended up being?
Dave Doeren's choice.
Dave Doeren's choice.
Yeah.
Now, it certainly helps to win 3 of your last 4 in the fashion that they did at home to please those fans who we are in the cycle now of, hey, this is when you're happy with Dave, and this is when you should be happy with Dave. But ultimately, I'm not going to go back and change what I said in October based on what we know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how the rest of the season goes.
I also said they could have. If you go back and look at the clip you posted, I said there's still a chance they could be Florida State and Carolina and feel super good about themselves. Guess what they did? I did not predict the Georgia Tech game, but
who could have?
The only way that happens is if the law kicks in, which it did. So, but here we are, year 14. You know what? Can they bring CJ Bailey back? That'll be job number 1, I guess. But look at what Will Wilson did on Saturday. I mean, he looks pretty good to me. He looks pretty athletic to me. We haven't really seen him throw.
Oh, that's I was going to say.
We haven't really seen him throw.
Don't.
You want to get back in that part of the cycle of the quarterback hope?
That probably bothers me more than anything else when it comes to NC State.
You know who's really going to deliver? The freshman core. That you could blame Phillip Rivers for that, sir. You can absolutely blame.
Yeah, let's not do this thing with Will Wilson, who has a very defined role and he excels at it. I know some people made the joke on social media. I know that we got some sports phone calls about it. He's better than the tush push at this point. But let's not act as though.
But if he is their quarterback next year,
they run a Wildcat all year.
I don't know.
I've never seen the man throw.
Doesn't mean he can't.
Joe, stop it. Fucking stop it.
It's a different part of the cycle.
No, I know that cycle. That's the cycle that drives me nuts. The cycle that doesn't drive me nuts is the Dave Doeren cycle. And look, I have been saying this as it relates to Dave Doeren, and I will put my foot down on this as it relates to him. If you're an NC State fan, stop banging on Dave Doeren. Like you said last week, and I agree with you. You have to make peace with who Dave is. It's who he is. This is what NC State football is. And all things considered, coming out of the pandemic, they've been a pretty consistent college football program.
Dave Doeren 2.0 has been at the top third of the ACC.
Yep.
The problem, here's the real problem.
He's consistent. They put guys in the NFL. They develop guys when they can actually keep those guys. I know that the business of college football is changing over time. I guess this is where I'm at with Dave Doeren. It's not too dissimilar to most of us in our careers. I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking about in general of our listening audience. You're good at your job relative to pay. You know what I'm saying? They pay you.
He's a bargain.
So there you go.
$5 million a year is a bargain.
That's a bargain in this day and age. And he consistently puts out good work. For the most part, he puts out good work. He's not perfect. But hey, man, I used to joke about this all the time with people who get mad at me on the radio. Like, man, you said we got to get better talent here in the market. I'm like, guys, I don't know if you realize this or not, but this is as good as you're going to get at the rate that they're paying. You catch my drift? So the point that I'm making with Dave is very similar. If you want something better, don't bang on Dave. Bang on the administration. If you want something better, don't get mad at the ups and downs of Dave Doeren, or even if NC State wins, Dave Doeren loses. Y'all got to get out of that cycle. If you are upset with the direction of the NC State football program, that's on Boo Corrigan. That's on the new chancellor who just got there, and I'm sure he's got some other fish to fry right now. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on in Kevin Howell's on his plate right now, but not neither here nor there. The point is that NC State's football direction really comes down to those with the money and the guy who's trying to bring all the alignment together. And that should be Boo Corrigan. Dave's just doing his job. He's getting paid handsomely to do his job, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's one of the classic, that's above my pay grade. I'm doing what you asked me to do, and I deliver pretty well. I mean, hell, when it was pointed out to him, I think it was Robbie had pointed out to him, last 5-game win streak, 8 of the last 10. Dave's like, oh man, thanks for telling me that, because I didn't realize it was even like that. He's just doing his job at this point. And then, he admitted he had a little bit of pep in his step because of the guy behind you. It was Bill Belichick.
I don't know if it's special. It's definitely something that motivated me. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Bill. And I mean, how do you not? He's one of the greatest NFL coaches of all time. And so definitely as a coach, when you're competing, and that's what we do is we compete, coaches want to beat each other. There was pep in my step this week for sure. I mean, I wanted that win, the competitive part of me against him. And it's very meaningful. It is, to get a win against a coach of, his status. I mean, that guy's one of the top 5 NFL coaches of all time. You could argue he's the best NFL coach of all time. So it means a lot.
Best NFL coach of all time.
He's not that, but I like the way that he put it. Here's the problem with Dave.
Okay.
And so you can't, every game, you can't make the whole season out of the Carolina game. Totally get that.
Yeah.
You can't have a Super Bowl like you did against Georgia Tech every week either. Totally get that. There's going to be one time of the year where you peak. Totally understood.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with Dave is it always takes crisis mode for him to motivate and get his team playing its best.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the game they lost at Duke with Henry Beelan playing quarterback. Like, it shouldn't take losing to Duke at Duke for your season to wake up, right? Like this year, they were actually alive for the ECU game. They started 3-0.
But what was that based off of, though?
From losing in the bowl game to
And
ECU
the
the previous
fight
year.
in the military
Sure.
bowl. So that kind of that goes back to that. It's a carryover effect.
It shouldn't take getting into the doldrums or getting into this. Now you're finally up against, your back is finally up against the wall. And now here's my best effort. Here we go. My best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you need to have your team building and getting and moving and without the dips. That's in 14 years. That's not a lot to ask. I'm being serious right now.
Yeah.
And that's the frustration if you're an NC State fan. You leave the building on Georgia Tech night going, okay, well, why can't we do that every week? Well, no, you can't play your best every week. I get that.
No.
But it shouldn't take getting to November and being 4-4 and being embarrassed by a quarterback to say, hey, we can't beat ourselves. Hey, we got to figure out a better way to use our offense. Hey, like all of these things that they seemingly figure out, it shouldn't take being in crisis mode to be at your best. And that is my biggest complaint with Dave Doeren.
We should probably do a better job of planning for future events. That ain't who we are.
Yeah, but we don't make $5 million a year. We're not in
point.
charge of the enterprise.
But he's also making, again, it's all relative to the market.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I get back to Boo Corrigan. There's all valid complaints about Dave Doeren. At this point, you just got to live with them. It is what it is. You got to live with them. And if you don't want to live with it anymore, again, that gets back to the AD and the chancellor who has to make the change if they feel that they're not comfortable with this anymore. And I'm guessing that given all the things that Dave Doeren has done, for the amount of money he's making, it makes more financial sense to keep him than not. Carter Finley Stadium's packed all the time. Season ticket sales haven't dropped off. I mean, I was there on Saturday night. I get it's the Carolina game, but yeah, man, the vibes are always good at Carter Finley Stadium one way or the other. So if everything is kind of as is, why would you change it? Especially if you don't have the financial resources. And this is the key part that I keep screaming about. You don't have the financial resources to go up in weight class. You just don't. And on top of that, Dave's not going anywhere.
Right.
So if you were to go out and make a change for the sake of making a change, and that's fine. I understand that argument. Sometimes you have to make a change for the sake of making a change, just to mix it up, give a young guy, a different kind of crack at it. Can they do can they go about it a different way? To succeed at NC State. But the problem there is, let's say you go out and get the next young hotshot guy. How long do you think he'd be at NC State?
It's a good problem to have.
But you got to go out and do it again.
Duke figured it out, right? With Elko. Well, they had Elko, the young hot guy. They lost him, and then they hired another coach.
Yeah, but
because of what? It's to your point.
What you're talking
because
about
of the alignment and the investment that Duke has.
You're talking about Miami in the 80s where they were running so hot you could put anybody in there, including Dennis Erickson, and still find a way to win. Larry Coker, for heaven's sake.
Sure, but that
was dragged to a championship.
Way different talent base in South Florida.
Well, that gets the other thing. Like I said, I think basically what you're describing is something that ECU should be. A stepping stone job where you identify the next hot young coach, you get him for 3 or 4 years, and he moves on to the next thing, and then you go get the next guy because you're built for success. Southern Miss used to be like this back in the day. That's how Larry Fedora ended up at North Carolina, because Southern Miss was kind of a turnkey operation.
But I think all of college football is going to end up this way. I'm being serious.
Well, no, where you're headed is something that I think we're kind of seeing play out at some of these jobs in the SEC.
Yeah.
And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about Lane Kiffin, but Lane Kiffin is the antiquated way of going out and getting a college football coach. Going and getting the hot name, win the press conference. You're basically winning the mind share, and all the talking head shows are talking about you, and Lane's really good online. But relative to the noise that comes with these hires, LSU is in that cycle. Florida is in that cycle. They're winning the offseason with these coaching hires, and then they have nothing to show for it in the grand scheme of things. Whereas Indiana did a little bit differently with Curt Cignetti. Some other schools, or in the case of John Summerall going to Florida, that young guy who's coming up in a different kind of way, it's not going to cost you as much money, and you can go forward with that. You see what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, like you said, your NBA-ification of college football is likely going to be the case. Okay. But NC State's not there yet because they don't have to be, because they got Dave Doeren. They go to Brazil, they'll lose.
They play Virginia. He's never lost to Virginia.
Yeah, but it's also a marquee game that everybody's watching.
Fair.
So we know how that goes. So how's that going to play out?
Immovable force,
Right.
Irresistible force.
I know I'm rambling, and we're all just kind of loopy today because we're coming out of holiday weekend. There's a lot of things rattling around in my brain when it comes to this kind of stuff. I am, to be clear about NC State and Dave Doeren, this does not bother me. This does not in any way, shape, or form damn, Dave's coming back. It's like, yeah, okay, I see it. I just hope that NC State fans are comfortable with it. Because, man, I don't know if I can do another year of this. Like, we're going to get to May. We're going to get to May.
Buckle up.
Talking about the Carolina Hurricanes in the playoffs, and the sports phone is going to be littered with Dave Doeren strays again. Do you want to do that again?
Here we are.
But here we are.
In the cycle.
Here we
Maybe
are.
they'll win the bowl game.
And one thing I'll say, maybe they will. One thing I'll say about Dave Doeren, and again, the other reason why he is the head coach at NC State, and I have no reason to say, no, you don't do it. He cares. He understands the area. He understands the dynamics. He understands the Carolina game, which is very, very important. He cares. Look at Manny Diaz. This is the state champs pig trophy
that they created. And he's hoisting it up in the locker room, and all the Duke players are losing their minds 2 years in a row. That pig trophy that they created is theirs. I love it. That is a man who cares. He understands college. He has excitement. There's something to it. Players want to play for him. I cannot say the same thing. I cannot say the same thing about Bill Belichick and North Carolina. I present to you the crucial sequence during the post-game press availability for Bill Belichick, which honestly might be the last we hear from Bill Belichick for a while as it relates to what's going on at North Carolina. I thought this exchange was telling, and it started with a question about what he learned this season. Season's come to a close. They finished 4-8. Belichick is asked, all right, so what did you learn in your first year at UNC?
Yeah, we just got done with the game. Okay, so,
On the what, Coach?
yeah, so we're not going to do a season recap. I'm just finished with the game here. We'll do a season recap when we get done with doing it. All right? Sorry.
On the
Go.
what, Coach?
What is the plan moving forward as far as having meetings with all the guys that have eligibility remaining and maybe go through?
Yeah, we'll go through. There's a lot of processes we'll go through at the end of the season. That'll start, tomorrow.
Some coaches have those conversations a little bit during the season. Have you had any of those conversations?
What conversation?
Conversations about.
Look, the season's just ended like a few minutes ago, okay? And so now we're going to move into the off season. That's what we're going to do.
And since we won't be talking to you, we're just trying to get an idea of what the plan is moving forward.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to tell you, we've been working on NC State. We've been trying to work on NC State. The week before that, we worked on Duke. The week before that, we worked on Wake Forest. The week before that, we worked on Stanford. The week before that, we worked on Syracuse. That's what we've been doing. Been working on a team every week. So I'm starting on the season recap for you. I don't have it. We haven't done it.
Well, it's more moving forward over the weekend.
Once I move forward, which is tomorrow, we'll start moving forward.
No, go ahead.
That was Andrew Jones of Tar Heel 24/7 with, I thought, a banger response to him being obtuse about the questions and what do you mean conversations, which is what college coaches do to keep it's a constantly moving thing. And Andrew, if you couldn't quite hear it, said, well, it's not like we're going to, I'm paraphrasing, it's not like we're going to talk to you after this. So ... And Bill just had no time for it. I get that Belichick has his shtick. This does not work in college. This does not give you a reason as a prospective college transfer or a prospective recruit saying, yeah, man, I want to go play for that guy. Yeah, man, that looks like it's a great place to be. I have seen, it's not like they haven't won this season. They have, but they won 4 times. But in all those situations, you don't exactly see a hype Bill Belichick. Going back to our conversation with Andrew last week, it was for the Carolina State game. Clearly, we know how Dave feels about this. You saw how Manny Diaz reacts to this stuff. And Bill's basically, yeah, go out there and get him, guys. And, you saw it on Saturday at Carter Finley Stadium. He's detached from the team, doesn't look all that invested. And then when you put all that together on top of something that I know I kind of tipsily ran through.
Well, before you get
on
to that,
Saturday,
messaging is part of your job.
Yes.
As a college coach.
Yes.
Because that post game was as embarrassing as anything he put on the field this year.
Agree.
Okay. And some people are confused about this. The New England Patriots are a privately owned team. and he was the coach of the Patriots for 20 something years.
Sure.
That's not a public school. He's not a public employee.
Mm-hmm.
At UNC, he's a public employee. He does owe an explanation to the public for the things that he's done this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just on Friday, Matt Rule, and you know how I feel about Matt Rule, came out after getting blown out by Iowa and said, I'm embarrassed. And I know how the fans feel. And I'm sorry. And I'm going to get to work. And I'm going to try to change things.
Will Wade in Maui, which we'll play that clip later. He was straight up talking about how he's embarrassed.
Showed some emotion and was trying to communicate not only with the fans, but like you said, prospective players. To be clear, this is not about the media at all.
No.
They could do this thing on Hulu. They could do this thing on their own socials. The clip you showed from Duke is from their socials.
Have you seen it? That's what I was getting at.
That's
Have you seen
how you
any
communicate with not only your players, but prospective players. Because guess what? They're on their phone. They're on the socials. That's what they see. All right? So behind closed doors, all we can assume is he failed at his job behind closed doors, because other than the Duke game and the first 5 minutes of the TCU game, did North Carolina's team look like they were either prepared or emotionally interested in playing football this season?
No.
Other than the first 5 minutes of TCU and the Duke game, giving them full credit for the Duke game. Although a game they should have won, but he was outcoached in.
Right. Well, not only was he outcoached, but I would also say they weren't prepared either. And that's on the coaching staff, because that's the other thing about, for all the talk about how the defense has gotten improved and all the other things that people were trying to find metrics of for Carolina. Let's look at them over the course of the last 3 weeks against Wake, Duke, and NC State. They got progressively worse in discipline. Their penalties were off the charts, like just game-breaking penalties in these games. They looked unprepared in obvious situations, like in the Duke game, where there was a fake field goal, as if Duke's kicker has been reliable from that distance.
44-yarder. Yeah.
NC State showed you no respect all night on Saturday. No
fake punt
respect for your defense. One that I kept trying to tell y'all, let's not get crazy about how improved they are. They gave up massive amounts of yards on the ground to Wake Forest. You saw them bite in situations, critical situations in the Duke game. I'm not saying that they didn't play well. I'm just saying they bit hard in some situations, including that fake field goal. And then in this NC State game where they showed no respect, you really thought NC State was going to punt in that situation? They showed you no respect all night. And you couldn't get off the field in those situations. So that defense got worse over the course of the last 3 games as well.
I think the Duke game broke them. They poured it out. I'm just saying. They poured it out for Duke. That was their best 30 minutes of the season. They lost the game. There was never a point on Saturday night where I thought North Carolina was going to win the football game.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And that's where Dave Doeren did a better job than Bill Belichick. How many times?
Think about that.
Also, but think about how many times an NC State season could be broken based on some results.
Yeah.
The Virginia Tech game could have broken them at home against a team that just fired their coach.
The Pitt game could have broken them.
The Pitt game could have going to Notre Dame
Miami
and getting
could have broken them.
embarrassed.
Miami could have broken them.
But they didn't get broken.
Yeah.
They bounced right back. So you can spare me all the business of all the Duke game broke them. No, the coaching staff should get you off the mat for that, especially in a freaking rivalry game. So as you can see, I'll do a season recap for Bill Belichick. It was a failure. Straight up, hard stop.
It was an embarrassment.
A failure. And this idea that they're going to turn things around with 40 some odd freshmen. No. The schedule, you want to go back to the schedule conversation. The schedule's harder next season. So I don't see a viable way out for how this guy is going about his business at UNC. These are the types of things that matter. And most importantly, to crystallize the point about how this man does not want to be here. The week of the NC State game, you're coming off a brutal loss to Duke, and you got another rivalry game against NC State, which you should be preparing for. What am I getting? I am getting Josina Anderson on Twitter talking about at least 2 NFL teams are expected to have interest in talking to Bill Belichick. And behind the scenes, at the very least, about the head coaching job in the carousel of the season. Quote, a third team could also enter the mix with desires to talk, particularly if one specific personnel change is made under ownership, the source added. Side note, this is from Josina Anderson, there's more to the story as to why Belichick did not end up coaching another NFL team a couple of seasons ago with his own desires and preferences regarding workplace dynamics playing more in a part of it than I think has been discussed, publicly known, or given real credence. At any rate, Belichick still has deep respect for a number of owners across the league, And that is what matters. I'm not saying I know for sure where that Josina Anderson report came from. I'm not saying for sure I know where it came from. But you know what that reads a lot like? That reads a lot like Mike Lombardi starting the process of the narrative change to try to get Bill Belichick back in the NFL. So, once again, illustrating the point, the man never wanted to be at UNC. They played a game of chicken. He thought he had leverage to get back into the NFL. It didn't work out. It had been too far gone. Oh, you're going to give me all these things to coach at UNC? The money, the ability to hire who I want, give my sons a job, bring my guy like Mike Lombardi, all this other stuff. You're out of the way? Cool, I'll do it. Because money's money. It
beats working.
Where's the clip? Do I still have the clip locked and loaded? I think I do.
Well, it beats working.
It beats working, but he doesn't want to be here. And I know that because why is that story dropping last week? Why is that happening? Because they're trying to flip the narrative that a new humbled, I want to go back to the NFL, Bill Belichick is out there now. And who's going to be the team, like you like to say, who's going to be the team that has nothing going for it that will hire Bill Belichick to be part of the limelight as he chases the NFL all-time wins record? Who's it going to be?
Will it be Tom Brady?
The Raiders suck.
Will he do the impossible and follow Mac Brown at Carolina and Pete Carroll again? Will he follow Pete Carroll again?
Dude, it's bad. And I am kind of surprised at the level of brain rot that exists out there. Like we got a text to the sports phone from a 919. There's like a section of UNC fans that seem to have brain rot. He started late. Dickert, 1 week later, twice the wins. Mac left it in shambles. Signetti, Indiana. But 70 new players, 40 freshmen coming in next year, and he selected them. So, like as the person from the 919 text pointed out, like there's some real big coping taking place online. But I know, as we discussed on Saturday, when you talk to Carolina fans in real life, man, they're looking for an exit on this the best they can, and they're hoping that an NFL team decides to do that with Bill Belichick. Back to the sports fun before we move on.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Carolina fan here. Take a couple days to process, but need the sports fun to help me out. You know, I feel like the most triangle good move ever is to go from 6-7, spend $50 million on a coach, and $20 million in NIL, and end up 4-8. Way to go, Heels. Not really upset at the game. You know, they were who we thought they were, kind of scenario as it comes to state. But the anemic offense that has plagued the Heels the entire season is just, my goodness. I think they average less than 18 points a game. And unless you're the 2001 Baltimore Ravens, that kind of offense won't win you anything in any year. So they need a full restart from that perspective for sure. I guess we ride out another year with a coach in his 70s and see what happens. Go Heels.
They buy him out?
No.
They're just hoping.
You pray. The NFL wants to see the 15 wins.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have more of the same next year. It's not going to get any better next year.
Housekeeping. Whoa, apologies. We went a little long in that first segment.
Well, there's a lot to get into.
It's like 45 minutes. More than 45 minutes. Whoops. Oh, well. Time flies when you're having fun.
No, you know what? Shout out to Ryan Rogers, athletic director over at Cary.
Mm-hmm.
So they had Friendsgiving over at the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And he said to me, when we were great to catch up with him, Chris Quady as well.
Mm-hmm.
All the imps, Impin' Ain't Easy, class of 93. Just getting ready to say goodbye, all his things. He goes, hey, by the way, tell Ovies, there's no such thing as going too long. That's what he said. He said there's no such thing.
That's fine. Housekeeping brought to you by Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
Just got done with Thanksgiving, hosting family. That house needs to be cleaned, right? You don't want to do it. Just call up Inovana. They can do a one-time cleaning or get ready for the holidays with a one-time cleaning. So again, check them out online at inovana.com. trianglemediashop.com. The OG trianglemediashop.com winter pop-up ends today.
Midnight.
You have until midnight. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right there. Monday, December 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. This bad boy shuts down and these goodies go back into the vault forever. No, all jokes aside, look, we appreciate the support. One cool thing about going to the game on Saturday.
Oh,
what?
Go ahead. I'll pull it up while you're getting
One
there.
cool thing about going to the game, I will admit, it's been a hot minute since I've been to a football game. I go to basketball games. I've gone to hockey games. It's been a hot minute since I've been to a football game. So it's very, very cool to run into people, say they appreciate the podcast, love what you do, all that kind of stuff. Heck, I was out and about on Saturday before that, hitting a couple different spots, and I had a couple people come up to me and say, hey, man, love what you do with the podcast. And we really appreciate that. We appreciate the support. So in turn, go buy some merch. Rep the podcast, because this is a twofold thing. You're supporting us, a local podcast. You're also supporting a local business. Our friends at Base 6 are the ones that put this merch together. And you're also supporting our guy, Mikey P, local guy in Cary, who has designed a lot of this stuff, including the patch and everything else and the hats. So go support small business, go support a local artist, and support a local podcast. Go buy some merch at ogtrianglemediashop.com. and you will get some OG under the tree. Again, that's ogtrianglemediashop.com. The store closes at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
Is there better advertising for us and Mikey P possibly ever than this?
What's this?
It's our guy Don with Philip.
I saw.
And you saw Don.
I saw Don. So I'm in the corner over. So my dad had tickets in 120.
He wanted the seat packs. Yes.
Well, no, my dad did not know exactly where he was. We were on a metal bench.
Oh,
we were at
in
the
red
bottom.
seats.
We were at the bottom of 120.
I'm sorry.
Mind you, we had the railing behind us.
That helps.
That helps.
Yeah.
But he ended up having to stand up most of the time because in that area nobody's really sitting. It's neither here nor there. So I see him before the game. I saw a couple people. Rick Steinbacher walking through. Our guy Justin's
not repping the OG.
No, he was not. I saw Justin. I saw Lee Roberts walking out. I did not say hi to Lee Roberts in that situation, but whatever. But I was corner of my eye. Wait a minute, is that an OG hat on the field? Is that an OG hat on the field?
Don's a Tar Heel fan too, man. Come on now. Come on now.
So I hollered at him and I
said,
the
Lord's work.
I hollered at him and I love seeing that. Does that become our new avatar on that one right there with Philip?
It's a winner.
Can we get Philip a hat?
Ain't for soft people.
No, it's not for soft people. By the way, there's a link to the secret stash in our YouTube and podcast description. If you'd like that hat or a hoodie like that Mikey P put together, you can go to our secret stash. That's separate from the pop-up shop. Completely different thing. That's we don't talk about the secret stash very much, but regardless, that's why it's a secret. So go check that out. We will be
Fayetteville
Thursday. Also, OG Light. People have asked, is OG Light still available? Yes, OG Light is still available. You can go directly to the source at Bond Brothers.
Always.
You can also go to P Street Market. They're always getting a re-up. And if you want to enjoy a nice time out with the weird-ass weather that we have, sometimes it's super, super cold. Sometimes it's somewhat spring-like or fall-like. Go to Longleaf Swine where you can get cans of OG Light. So check them out online at longleafswine.com. Speaking of things that are wrapping up, the Rowback site-wide 20% off is wrapping up. So if you've had your eye on the Melikaliki Maca Polo, go get it now. If you had your eye on that Cousin Eddie sweater, get it now. Go to rowback.com. Save your promo code. Use the 20% off site-wide right now. I know I'll be doing that. I had the Ready crew neck on Saturday night.
Yes.
Under my jacket.
Yes.
Kept me nice and warm. Now I got to go get the Ready hoodie from
the one that Ben had on.
The one that Ben had was slick.
Yeah,
so I got to get
heavier than the normal.
It's a little bit heavier.
Look at you when you're
We don't talk about this one.
Okay.
We don't talk about this one.
I won't say anything then.
It's a special one of one Rowback. We don't talk about it.
It's nice though.
It is nice.
Yeah.
I gave it to Jacob on Sunday because the box arrived. And typical 14-year-old. Then again, this is a 14-year-old's endorsement of the the Hesse?
Yeah,
Hesse. The Hesse hoodie, which is more of a lightweight hoodie. I think V fabric, I think is what they call it. Regardless, Jacob being a typical I'm over it 14-year-old for everything. I say, hey, man, here it is. Put it on. I say, okay, whatever. He puts it on. He's like, oh,
It's a revelation.
this is really nice. Like, this might be like the softest hoodie I have. I go, right. Even neighbor Rick, I gave him a Wolfpack one. Even he was like, yo, I didn't realize they were like this soft. I go, right. So
we had to buy a Jack if you want to do Miller Lending right now. Our guy Jack, listener, he took us up on our offer. Hey, you go get a new loan and close with Miller Lending. Well, guess what you get? A Rowback polo. He chose the Golden Retriever.
Oh,
so I'll be delivering that to him tomorrow over at the Miller Lending headquarters.
Interesting.
I believe we'll also have a visit this week from Gordon Miller himself. But you could give Austin a call, 919-447-3377, or go to millerlending.com. Because, man, I got a tax letter in the mail today. I also know it's the end of the year. And I'm like, sir.
You mean a tax letter for you or the business?
Well, two different things.
Okay.
Right? It was the annual shit in your pants tax letter, the one for your house. Even though it's rolled into your escrow and all that. It's
rolled in the escrow.
I know, but when you get it, it's still like, you still see it and you're like, whoa, wait, what is this?
Yeah, I know. Okay.
You have a little moment of like anxiety for sure, right?
Did I pay this?
Did I not pay? Wait, what is happening?
Yeah.
Because it acts as kind of like your assessment, but it's also like you are paying this, you just don't realize it because it's rolled into your mortgage.
It's coming out of your mortgage.
Exactly. You know who you call to be reassured for such things. It's Miller Lending.
That sounds to me, it's funny. I had this very thing when I was a new homeowner. I had no idea. I was like, whoa, what? And I remember calling Miller Lending up and I was like, hey, like, oh, no, that's in the mortgage. I'm like, okay, got it. So I've never had that anxiety again.
Oh no, I get it every year.
You
every year I get it.
you sound like me waking up in the middle of the night having a dream about, I haven't been to a class all semester and I still have I have an exam to attend. I got to take this exam. That's what you sound like when you get that letter. Like, oh my, like, oh no, it's fine. I'm done with that.
Deep breaths. The real celebration here is Jack getting his Golden Retriever polo. You can get one too. All you got to do is get your no closing cost mortgage from Miller Lending.
Now, speaking of saving money, contact our guy, Matt Davis, over at State Farm. Check him out online at insuregarner.com or call him directly at 919-779-8277. And you can save money on home and auto. Or if you're like Joe and you're freaking out about future financial situations, they can't do financial planning. Maybe you need to talk to Matt about that, Joe.
Good call.
Rather than worrying about it yourself. Matt can handle that for you. So check them out online at insuregarner.com. And of course, our friends at the Butcher's Market. Check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. I got to spend too much time on this, but you did the ham biscuits.
Yeah.
And
you were right.
Thank you. Ham biscuits are undefeated. And the best part is there's
like
always
a maple something in there.
Yeah, they've got like a glaze on there, a little sweetness to the ham mix with those biscuits, and it's fantastic. So here's the best part about the ham biscuits. They're always available.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you got another holiday party to go to? Just drop on by, pick them up.
We live to promote the dumbest shit possible, don't we?
Well, that's why we
we have these amazing steaks, Giglio.
No.
The hot dogs. No.
Ham biscuits. That's what you need to focus on. Ham biscuits. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com. Oh, Carolina Panthers. I finally come to the realization. I have come to the realization that the Carolina Panthers really are the perfect NFL team for this state. Because, and I think this week we'll get it. The weather in North Carolina is funny, right? We got 4 seasons. And in North Carolina, you can experience all 4 seasons in the span of a week. I feel like the Carolina Panthers are in the same boat, where you can experience just about every emotion regarding the Carolina Panthers in the span of a week. You can feel the highest of highs, and then you can have the bottom drop out because you lose a game you weren't supposed to lose. Then they bounce back, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling good. Look at this. The Carolina Panthers are 7-6 now after a dramatic win over the Los Angeles Rams, one of the best teams in the NFL. The Panthers are 7-6. They're a half game behind Tampa, and they've yet to play. Did you feel like that after the Carolina Panthers lost to the New Orleans Saints? No, you didn't. You're like, blown opportunity, fire Dave Canales. Bryce Young isn't the guy. I'm done with this team. That's followed up with a demoralizing loss to the 49ers on a Monday night. And then they go out and do this on Sunday afternoon, Bank of America Stadium against the Rams. That is the up and down nature of the Carolina Panthers. I have stopped trying to make sense out of them. I have stopped trying to project where the season's going for them. It makes no sense. It doesn't go against instinct. It goes against any football sense that you'd ever have. That's where we are with the Carolina Panthers. And even stranger is the fact that the Carolina Panthers under Bryce Young have some wild ass stats. For instance, the Panthers put this out with the goat emoji. Now I'm going to look past the excessive use of the goat emoji. I'm going to look past that. But here's a fun fact. Bryce Young, youngest player in NFL history with 11 game-winning drives. 24 years, 128 days. That's younger than Josh Allen of 24 years, 164 days. And Peyton Manning, 24 years, 212 days.
I hope Doeren wasn't in charge of that socials graphic, because no way you put Peyton Manning in the Broncos jersey after what he did to you 10 years ago. That's got to be a Peyton Manning in a Colts uniform graphic. That can't be. So E social media team.
That's a good eye. I had noticed that as well. And to answer your question, there's no way Doeren can't put that graphic together. Okay. Because you're right. There's no way it's a Broncos. Also, it's not accurate to what he did it. He would know with the Colts.
Right.
Regardless. Exactly. So I'm going to give you that stat. Here's another stat about Bryce Young, which is kind of wild this year. On fourth down this season, Bryce Young is 12 of 16, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 passing first downs, 1 rushing first down. I'm going to repeat that. On fourth down this year, 12 of 16, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 passing first downs, 1 rushing first down. So giving you the game-winning drive stat, giving you this stat, without any other context, what would you think Bryce Young is? With no other context.
The best player in the NFL?
This motherfucker's having a year. That's what I would take away from those two very isolated, context-free stats. Goodness gracious. We got ourselves a franchise quarterback in Charlotte. Except that there's a lot more context to it. I'll give Dave Canales credit. He understood that the Rams were playing a certain way, not necessarily respecting Bryce Young, and they took advantage of it on the fourth down situations by going for those explosive plays. They couldn't get any explosive plays throughout the entire game, but when they came into those fourth down situations, knowing what they had in front of them, Bryce Young deserves both guys deserve credit. One, Dave Canales has to trust that Bryce Young can make the throw. And then Bryce Young goes out there and throws 2 absolute dimes in those situations.
Yeah, the go-ahead touchdown to Ted McMillan was fantastic. Fourth and 2, play action. I mean, that's a great call.
Great call, great execution.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, the blocking on that play was phenomenal. If you take your youngest player graphic off there, I think I can sum up this perfectly. What I hear you saying is that Bryce Young, much like Dave Doeren, is great when it comes to crisis mode.
Maybe.
Right? But you just need to be in crisis mode.
Maybe.
So there we go. There it is. Oh, hey, I shit the bed against the Saints. Don't you worry. We're playing the Rams next. I got this.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't complete a pass against the Niners. Doesn't matter.
Don't matter.
We're about to play the best team in the NFL. They're wins now. Packers on the road. Rams anywhere.
Rams anywhere.
Rams anywhere.
Well.
And Dallas, by the way. Dallas looks pretty fucking good on offense right now.
Hey, man.
I mean,
I don't understand. Now, this is from Mike Tanier over at Too Deep Zone over on Substack. Mike's been covering the NFL for a very, very long time at various stops. I thought you would enjoy this. Matt Stafford, quarterback Rams, by his count, 2-10 in bad weather, regular season / postseason games for his career. 2-10. It's not lost on me. Now, he threw 2 of those picks in the first half. But it's not lost on me that things kind of went a little squirrely for the Rams in the second half when the weather got worse. And if this game was being played in LA in perfect conditions, maybe things go a little bit different, right? Where did Matt Stafford play most of his career before he got to the Rams?
Detroit.
Detroit, where do they play?
Inside.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now you're making this smug face. To me, that just further proves that football should be played in the elements. Because if you can't be consistently great, then I got no time for you. It's a feature, not a bug, to play out in the elements, especially if you're in Buffalo. That's why they should never build a dome out there, because you got a quarterback who's built for that kind of stuff. Anyway, I digress.
First, a Matt Stafford stat for you. First 373 pass attempts this season, 2 interceptions. 28 pass attempts on Sunday, 2 interceptions. So obviously he was off his game. Now, for the Panthers defense, because really, I thought the Panthers defense is really how they ended up winning this game. As good as Young was, as great as the play call was, those are all great things.
You know,
Derek Brown with the sack, unbelievable, the strip sack.
Yeah.
The other guy, pick 6 from Mike Jack in the first half. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The unspoken hero here is the Ohio State rookie at safety, Lathan Ransom.
Yeah.
He had 11 tackles in this game. He also had a sack, a tackle for loss. He had a series, and the Rams scored on this series, but he absolutely pounded the shit out of Kyron Williams on 3 plays in a row.
Yeah.
Just old school Ronnie Lott lit his ass up. And I'm sitting here going, who is this difference maker? Where did you come from? So the draft continuing to bear fruit, especially on the defensive side of the ball for the Carolina Panthers. Now 7-6. They have a real look at this thing. I'm not suggesting they're going to turn this thing around and run to the Super Bowl.
Well, why would you?
But they're 7-6, and they
Joe, remember. Now hold up.
They got a real look at this thing.
Hold up.
They finally get a week off. They get New Orleans on the road.
Yeah.
Two turns with Tampa, and that little sandwich with Sam Darnold and Seattle in week 17. So not an easy way to go. But they haven't done it the easy way.
Baker Mayfield's not himself, so it's there for them.
Yeah, the better the opponent, the better they play. So
now here's the funny thing about the Super Bowl. Remember, we are still in.
Remember where we are.
It doesn't. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but remember at the beginning of the season, we laid out the dynamics. Okay. We laid out the dynamics of how the Panthers had gotten to the Super Bowl. And
big shouts to our guy, Carson Carell, for that. Yes.
And I know that Pardon My Take had put it out there on blast. And I know it's come back up again because the Panthers are in the playoff mix.
Just beat the Rams, best team in the NFL.
Okay. It doesn't matter how your season goes. Just get in. We never said they were going to have a magical 2015 season. That was a magical season for a reason with Cam Newton. Okay. And yeah, that Jake Delhomme team was built a little bit different when they saw the Patriots in Houston. Totally get that. This is not a Panthers team that you look at and go, yeah, man, they look like a Super Bowl contender, but not the point. Remember, everything lined up, starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ohio State winning
Ohio State championship, Jaguars opener, losing record the previous year. Here we are.
There's also a J-Lo factor, according to
our friends
PFT.
added that one in there. Yeah,
so there's that too.
Divorce.
And I'm going to add to it. What did I do recently?
You drank the Super Bowl 50 10-year anniversary Bud Light.
Alan brought this over. He also pointed me out where the full ones are. Guess what has arrived, Joe?
Oh, no.
Bought 2 more.
2 more, so we'll save them for the Tampa games.
I'm going to send one to Doeren. One of these is going in the mail today.
Okay.
I got to send it to Doeren Gant. So this one's going to Doeren. This other Super Bowl 50 unopened Bud Light. When do you want me to drink it?
I'm saying I think you save it for the Tampa game.
Okay.
On the 21st.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
So you want me to do it then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The born on date for this bad boy was January 6th, 2016.
Uh-oh. Get the jersey.
So
because that's when Rantanen's going to be here.
So I do I'll drink this and it might, there might be a riot in my stomach for all I know. But yeah, do I wear the Rantanen jersey while I drink this to really put it all together?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or save it for January 6th then. If that's the actual
that's the
born on day, then save it.
Okay, because they'll be.
They might need it though before.
Well, you
might need to unleash the powers before.
I got 2 more. We don't have to send one to Doeren.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So do I save both of them for these in these instances?
So you drank it? No, you drank it before the Niners game.
I did drink it before the Niners game, but not the point.
Okay,
not the point.
No, I just wanted to make sure we were using the power correctly.
Yes,
we can harness it, but we got to use it correctly.
Anyway, to wrap the point on Bryce Young, I think what we're finding out this season is something that I've been kicking around and I've said a few times on the podcast. But I think this past weekend is the perfect example of what Bryce Young is for the Carolina Panthers. He can be a game manager. He can be a guy that if you set things up like Dave Canales certainly did on Sunday to manage the game, rely on your defense and rely on your run game, and then call upon Bryce Young to make a clutch throw when needed, then that's a good recipe for the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young going forward. That is the recipe, though. What I don't want is the goat emojis. What I don't want is that Bryce Young is some like true reaper out there. I beg of you, go look at his career stats and then come back to me and tell me he truly is this otherworldly top 10 quarterback. He's not. But you don't need to be a top 10 quarterback. That is where we get mixed up all the time. Now, I blame national sports talk as to why we're here. We're obsessed over the franchise QB, even though there's multiple ways to win in this league. And if you have that right mix and it works, like it certainly did on Sunday for the Carolina Panthers, then you got something. And it just shows you have to get better in certain areas going forward. All right? Getting Ted McMillan, I think that was his only catch at that point. Was that touchdown? Jalen finding a diamond in the rough like Jalen Coker, who also came up big in this game. All those things matter. Having, hey, look at that balanced running attack between Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dell.
Both were going.
Yeah. They were both going.
Both effective.
Both. And then, of course, Derek Brown being healthy and having those big plays. And then when the money's on the table and you need him to make a throw, Bryce Young has shown you consistently that he can make throws that'll put you in a position to win. In this case, he had 2 critical 4th down throws that changed the game, along with all the other things. But he stepped up where he needed to be. And I think that is a perfect example of what Bryce Young and this Panthers team with Dave Canales is capable of. But this idea, this week-to-week, up and down North Carolina weather-like experiencing every season over Bryce Young is exhausting. And every game is not a referendum if he's a franchise quarterback or he's not. It's exhausting. I think we kind of know what he is.
Again, this feels very similar to our conversation about Dave Doeren.
Yeah, there is something to it there. There is something to it there. Let's go to the sports phone again, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 910.
Tell me something good. Panthers are on a bye week. They can't possibly break our hearts till at least December 14th. Cheers.
At least you know what you're dealing with. Let's go to a 704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Just sitting here thinking about the Panthers. You know, I really think the Panthers' greatest asset is also their greatest weakness, and it's Dave Canales. Because when you don't expect a Dave Canales team to win a game, that man is fearless. He will call, the playbook is wide open. He will go for it on every fucking 4th down. The man's an animal. But as soon as you start expecting him to win games, he turtles. I've never seen anything like it. He is the Jekyll and Hyde of football coaches. Just be consistently you, man. Just be consistently a risk taker. Be the play caller that we see in these games that you're double digit underdogs. I don't get it. I've never seen a coach this two-faced. Ever. Just, what the hell, Dave?
Well, Paul, I know you're a Carolina fan, and you were in the band, but you missed the whole Tom O'Brien era at NC State. If you've never seen a coach who beats number 1 Florida State one week, then loses to 3-8 Virginia the next week. We have seen this before.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. Let's go back to a 704.
Hey, Joe. This is Joe in Charlotte. I'm at the Panther game, and I just watched Dave Canales just operate the poorest play calling I've seen at the end of a quarter. 2 minutes left. Just run the ball, get sacked, run the ball again. Like, ridiculous. It is a ridiculous play calling. They needed to score. It's 21-17. Why wouldn't you go for the score? I mean, does he not trust Bryce Young that much? I mean, at some point, you gotta run your team like you're expecting to play. And I don't get it, man. He's on notice again. I don't know if it's between him or Bryce Young or both of them, but sometimes I think one of them needs to go. Sometimes I think both of them need to go. But that was ridiculous. That was scared. That was cowardly play calling by Coach Dave Canales. He's on notice again.
Again, I wanted to play that one because obviously the Panthers go on to win. We really are experiencing everything in one game alone. We experience everything.
Game, yeah.
And within the game. Look.
Then the weather turned. There you go.
Yeah. And Matt Stafford is
Weather
terrible. Weather turn. Matt Stafford's terrible in these conditions. Look, guys, I love the passion. But this does remind me a lot of when the Hurricanes were going through their 10-year run of just being and they were bumping up against it and they couldn't get in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff, right? The team just wasn't that good. There are some pieces there. There are some parts there. And that's what leads to the inconsistency. But even then, if they got better, I can point to any number of teams in the NFL, Super Bowl contenders, that have been inconsistent this year. It's a long season, man. The Rams did not look like a team that were going to have the kind of game they did against the Carolina Panthers, and here they are. The Bills, a Super Bowl contender, have had some games where you go, what in the entire hell?
Yeah, but I didn't think the Rams played poorly in the game.
They
kept punching back, and that's the thing. That's why the sack and the way that the Panthers kept responding.
They kept
in this
responding.
Game.
Yes.
So
and that's all you can ask.
So did the Rams. I'll be perfectly honest with you. They just beat them.
Let's go to 919.
What's up, Joes? It's Will from Smithfield. I don't know what to say about that Panthers game other than it's fun being a Panthers fan again. Credit to Dave Canales for putting together a game plan that would work against the Rams. Credit to the second and third string defense for making Matt Stafford look human. Credit to Bryce Young for not having a crazy game, but making the clutch throws when needed. It's just fun. It's December. The Panthers have a winning record. They are firmly in the postseason discussion. And as a fan, what more can you ask for? So just going to take it week to week and enjoy the ride. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Yeah, that's the most important part is they're making you feel something again.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's honestly the healthiest way to go about it. Just enjoy the ride. All right, one more sports phone call about the Panthers.
What's up, Joes? Tyler from Wilmington. I think I got a good name for this year's Panthers team. Instead of the cardiac cats, they're the cardiac arrest cats because this season basically makes me have a heart attack each year. Excuse me, each game, not each year. But they're going to win the Super Bowl. I know it.
That's right. This is 10 years. And we got the Super Bowl 50 beers. So here we go. I'm trying to look at the rest of the NFL because we got some Thanksgiving leftovers we're going to get into here in a little bit for hoops and some other stuff. Chiefs are 6-6. Losing to the Dallas Cowboys, as you mentioned.
I'm saying, speaking of preseason takes,
these were in the bold predictions. If you're going to make bold predictions, you got to make actual bold predictions.
Speaking of preseason takes,
and I did say the Chiefs would miss the playoffs.
They look pretty good right now.
And talk about ups and downs and kind of feeling one which way or the other. That's been the Chiefs this year.
It's been so long ago that they lost this week. I already forgot when it was. Oh, Thanksgiving. They lost to the Cowboys
at night. Yeah.
They just got outclassed
yes.
by the Cowboys, by the way. They didn't just lose. They were shooting blanks, and the Cowboys were just like, hey.
Are the Bills back? Speaking of ups and downs this season.
Please don't get me started.
At 8-4. Are the Bills back?
Please don't get me started.
Are the Eagles going to fire their offensive coordinator this week?
The Eagles are in serious trouble, and they have been in
trouble. They have been
as they lead the NFC East. But what does that really get you?
The Lions aren't themselves. Speaking of things we'll talk to Gordon about.
Yeah.
Right? The Buccaneers are not themselves.
How about Ben Johnson having like a year of years, and he has no chance of winning NFL Coach of the Year? None.
It's going to go to Vrabel.
Has to.
Yeah. At 10-2.
I mean,
so anyway, we're just kind of like highlighting some other things in the NFL that we haven't spent a lot of time on. I'm sure we'll get to some more of it as the week goes on, as we get closer to the playoffs. That the Panthers really are just in the same mix with a lot of these other teams. You're expecting consistency out of the Panthers and Dave Canales. You're expecting consistency out of Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. And I can point to you that actual Super Bowl contenders don't look like themselves, right? So it's just one of those things of having a little bit of perspective of what this Panthers team is. They're playing with house money. I don't think anybody expected them to get to 7 wins. And if they did get to 7 wins, it wouldn't be the way they've gotten to 7 wins, with wins on the road at Green Bay.
Packers and Rams.
At home against the Rams in that game on Sunday. The Cowboys, as you mentioned, they're looking like they've kind of turned things around a little bit, right? So nobody expected this the way it's all played out. And yeah, if it's making it feel something, makes it even better. Big thanks to Bloomin' Blinds. They bring you the After Darks this football season, and they'll bring you the After Darks with some crucial basketball games. They'll bring you the After Darks when we get into the Canes playoffs. And more importantly, they've got a sale going on right now. So go to bloominblinds.com or call them directly at 919-980-9815. Again, that's bloominblinds.com or call them directly at 919-980-9815. They've been awesome for us throughout the football season when we talk about the ACC and the After Darks. They support us. You go support them. And I don't know, maybe things got real during Thanksgiving. You know, one too many, got into an argument. Maybe something was thrown. Blinds were broken. They can fix it. You know, maybe an in-law said something about like, ooh, I couldn't sleep. It's just not dark enough in this room. They can make that happen. So hit them up, bloominblinds.com. Maybe you're just fed up with your house after the holidays. It's time for something new. That's also entirely possible. Hometown Realty can help you out. myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. You have specific needs. You want an open kitchen plan. I've heard of this trend, living room kids. That's a thing now.
I don't know what that means.
Apparently, our generation, we were holed up in our rooms.
Okay.
But now they want everybody kind of like an open play area. Everybody's all just kind of intermingling. So they're living room kids, not their own room kids. That's something that I've heard about.
Okay.
Maybe you're looking for a floor plan like that. A lot of new construction. Hometown Realty can help you out. So hit them up, myhtr.com. Of course, if you take that thing to close or you have any other legal needs, like I said, things might have gotten real over Thanksgiving. I don't know. Check them out. WH.lawyer, Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. They can help you out. Again, that's WH.lawyer, Whitaker and Hamer. They're going to help you out. I did not have enough time to come up with new graphics and call this Thanksgiving leftovers. By the way, how long do you go with the Thanksgiving leftovers? What's the cutoff date?
I finished them yesterday.
So Thursday to Sunday, if they're not done by Sunday, you pitch them?
Yeah.
That sounds about right. You're not going to do 10-year-old Thanksgiving leftovers, like 10-year-old Bud Lights?
No, I can't do that.
No, you're not doing that? Okay. Just double check it on that one. Hey, look, we said we had a lot to get into today, so let's get into it. NC State. I guess the weather was good in Maui. Maybe. They lose to Texas. They win one game out of the 3 at the Maui Invitational. And I want to play this clip from Will Wade, NC State head coach. I think admitting out loud, at least publicly for the first time, why the season has kind of gone the way that it's gone from his perspective, the fouls, the technicals, right? All the aggressiveness. I thought this was pretty telling from Will Wade after they had Texas spot triple digits on them.
It's good and bad. We've got really, really nice kids, players, men, young men. We got great people, but we don't have the edge that we need. We don't play with the edge that we need. And, you know, I've been trying to instill an edge and you know, I haven't been able to get through to them. So this is on me. It ain't them. They're good kids. They're trying, but we don't have the hard edge that you need in these type games. And we just don't have it. And we've got to develop it, and we've got to develop it quick because it's not going to get any easier Wednesday night. In fact, it'll be one of the probably 3 or 4 toughest games on our schedule Wednesday night. And if we don't figure out some things defensively and we don't figure out some things, you know, could be on the record books on the bad side for the Pack. So we've got a lot of work to do these next few days. You know, I still believe in our guys. I like the character of our group, but we don't have the edge that we need. This is, you know, our teams usually play with an edge, and you know, we don't. So maybe now, you know, we've been knocked down. Everything's been pretty rosy for the last 7-8 months. You know, maybe now we'll be able to get to work. But I mean, we've got tough ground to plow now. We've put ourselves in a really, really difficult spot.
So that's Will Wade after the loss to Texas, 102-97. Combine that with Seton Hall, the 85-74 loss, and what he's referencing is the Auburn game on Wednesday. They go on the road for that game.
Typically, teams that travel after playing in these invitational tournaments lose when they have to play on the road.
Yeah,
doesn't matter your opponent. Just so happens to be that Auburn's really good, by the way.
So what he's referencing in the edge and things like that, I mean, that's directly related to their defensive effort. And I think that's the thing that if we were to raise the red flags, and I know that you went all the way back to that exhibition game against South Carolina, it's not there. And they've had some moments where you can point to, hey, you got to play better defensively, and they just haven't been able to do it. And in that loss to Seton Hall in the Maui Invitational, it was about effort. Seton Hall was the one that was battling for every ball. It seemed like every loose ball went Seton Hall's way. In the game against Texas, that was just straight up, man, they're dotting you in this situation.
16 of 32 from 3. A lot of them were open looks.
And I understand there was the whole back and forth with you and Will Wade about the percentages. And, you know, we have a system as to, you know, where we're going to allow you to have it on the court and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they switch on everything. When you switch on everything, you can then get a guard trying to guard a big in the post. So what they do is they help on the post, which is then leaving people open to shoot. So they have to reevaluate, which he did say maybe in a different clip. Mm-hmm. They are going to reevaluate how they defend.
Yes.
So
it's not just the threes, by the way, too, because they're also going at him in the lane, too.
That was Seton Hall, yeah.
So anyway.
So 2 things here. When he talks about edge, that explains why he has talked the way that he has about the reckoning.
Yeah.
He's trying to instill a confidence in his players like, hey, I'm out here saying we're going to be kicking ass and taking names because I want you to feel that type of pressure. I want to motivate you. I want you to play with an edge. Also, the technicals. Hey, I don't care. You want to talk trash? You want to get tough? You want to go, you know, stand chesty with somebody? Mm-hmm. Cool. I want to see that edge. Okay, so I get where he's coming from. But ultimately, edge, when he says edge, he's talking about defense and playing with an intensity for the duration of a possession. And you're not seeing enough of that. You can change some of that with your scheme. Mm-hmm. They can. But ultimately, that's where he is when he says edge. The last part that he said, though, about now they have a tough road to hoe. I made this point on Twitter. People were like, you're crazy. And it's like, you're not paying attention. By losing 2 of 3 in Maui, what do they have in their back pocket now? They have a win over VCU. They have a win over Boise. Boise went 1-2 in Maui with a win over Chaminade, by the way. You might as well go 1-3. Chaminade doesn't help you. So you now have 3 games out of the league before it starts against Auburn, Kansas, and Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
What I tweeted was you need to win 2 of those 3 games to feel good about your chances of making the NCAA tournament. People were losing their mind. Well, I'm not saying it. I am saying it, but the coach is saying it too in so many words there. Those 3 games, because A, you need something in your back pocket before ACC play starts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ACC play is better this year, but there's still not going to be a plethora of opportunities for you to win Q1 games and feel good about your NCAA tournament chances. Not only that, if you can beat 2 of those 3 teams, you'll then have some confidence as you go into ACC play that you don't have to make some sort of miracle run. You don't have to go to Louisville and win. You don't have to go to Clemson and win, which will be 2 of those big opportunities for them. Instead of putting all of the pressure on yourself to have to win games that are not insurmountable, but you're also at a disadvantage. Then where they are in the schedule too, with Carolina and Duke both coming to Raleigh, they're both super late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like not too late that it can't help them, but it could be in a situation where you're sitting there at 500 in the league, or you're sitting here with a middling record and you've lost all your momentum. So yes, I'll double down on it. They need to win 2 of these 3 games against power conference opponents that they have in front of them before the league play starts to feel comfortable and good about making the NCAA tournament.
As you're saying all this, I'm having talking heads once in a lifetime playing in my head. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get into league play and need the miracle win.
Will Wade was supposed to change that. Will Wade was supposed to be the coach that came into NC State and actually followed through on the promise of bringing NC State back into the same conversations that you see with Duke, the same conversations you see with North Carolina. Hell, Louisville's already doing it with Pat Kelsey, right? And yet, all these conversations sound eerily familiar when it comes to NC State, where you're looking at these critical non-conference games and coming up short. I'll give Will Wade credit, though. He's not bullshitting anybody. He's not.
He's not faking it.
He ain't faking it. So I give him credit. I also give NC State's players credit because they said all the right things after the Maui game. I know Kadir Copeland went semi-viral, I guess, with his comments after the game saying, hey, look, man, like we disappointed the fans. Will Wade even said,
this is embarrassing.
This is embarrassing. This is not what we were promising. Will Wade even said, we probably had the most fans here by far. That's he said sacrifice.
Yeah.
A lot of people sacrificed to be out here, and we had that performance. That's embarrassing. So maybe this trip to Maui is the thing that finally jostles them out of whatever mode they've been in. Not the technicals, not the talk at the podium about Van Allen Lubin and his usage at UNC and all sorts of kind of stuff. All the things that Will Wade has now admitted, yeah, I'm doing these things to try to give this team a little bit of an edge. Maybe sometimes you got to get slapped in the face to be like, oh, shit, okay. Maybe the Maui Invitational was the smelling salts for NC State basketball, and we'll see what happens going forward. Now, speaking of putting things in your back pocket, that's what North Carolina did with the win over Kansas.
Yes. Important.
Very important. And losing to Michigan State during Feast Week, not the worst thing in the world. Michigan State's a good team. Michigan State just was simply better in that game. North Carolina couldn't shoot for shit. I think they were, 4 of something from 3?
23.
4 of 23 from 3. They also, I think, they got worked on the offensive boards as well, which is a little bit of a problem. I know that's what people don't want to see with North Carolina. But to your point, they've got that win over Kansas. As we've talked about with NC State, and you look at how Duke and Carolina have already played Kansas, that's another thing that Will Wade and pressure deals with. And that, hey, these other 2 schools took care of business against Kansas. What are you going to do against Kansas? What are you going to do in this SEC, ACC challenge when they go play Auburn? Hey, Duke's playing Florida at home on Tuesday. Carolina and Kentucky are playing. How is that going to shake out, right? So all these things all kind of play into each other. And with North Carolina specifically, that Kansas win comes up big when we talk about their NCAA tournament chances, and losing to Michigan State on Thanksgiving, not necessarily the worst thing. Honestly, the only thing that I found interesting about the Carolina-Michigan State game was the ratings. It was on Fox down at Fort Myers. And they ended up having like 5.5 million people watching. It was, it was a lead into football, right? But not the point. Hey, when you put good teams, good matchups on television in primetime, people will still watch college basketball. mean, it wasn't the cleanest game from Carolina, but still, it's good to see Carolina, or it's good to see some college basketball love during Feast Week, along with all the other things that were going on in Las Vegas as well, because I know they had their Players Era tournament.
Before we move on to Duke, to be clear, it's not great for Carolina that Michigan State's a better basketball team than they are.
Oh, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's more along the point about, hey, they beat Kansas, though.
Right. So it's not great that you went down there, played a hard-fought game, and they were just better than you. That's not great. Now, you're Carolina, though. You're missing Seth Trimble.
Yes.
So hopefully by January, you get him back. Again, that's the importance of the Kansas game. Kentucky's kind of been going through it a little bit, but obviously they have to go to Kentucky again. Traveling after the Thanksgiving week is not a great thing for your team. So Carolina will have some other chances. Ohio State, notably, Georgetown, notably. But this is one of those games where you're looking at it going, all right, Carolina, because the same things apply in league play. What are you looking at in league play, and what can you put in your back pocket, and how will that work? Obviously, they get 2 chances at Duke as opposed to State only gets 1 look at Duke. So I think Carolina is in a better position than they certainly were last year when they were chasing those Q1 wins, right? To have the Kansas game in the back pocket. Now, but to apply Carolina's own standard, when they play Michigan State and Kentucky and Duke and Kansas, they don't want to hear about moral victories or who's missing or who's not. They want to beat those teams.
I'm with you on that.
There's that. Now Duke,
on the other hand, what you're talking about was their issues last year where they played all these games against these marquee teams that you're supposed to beat. You lost all of them.
And lost all. So now Duke, on the other hand, my goodness, what a high-level basketball game they had with Arkansas on Thanksgiving night in Chicago. I mean, that was like some Final Four level shit out of both of those teams on Thanksgiving. So let's take a second to marvel at that. And when I tell you a team is super athletic, what I'm talking about is Trayvon Brazil and that dunk that he had in the first half of this game. So if there's ever any ambiguity in your mind when Giglio says, well, hey, they're not super athletic, that's what I fucking mean.
Go watch that.
Okay?
Right.
So props to Calipari. They came out, started. That reminded me of what he did do to Rick Pitino last year in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Duke, though, with the response in this game, and Cameron Boozer, my God, what a baller. Just a baller.
But Joe, I was told that not all 5-star recruits are the same.
Whew, they're not. And I
was told.
What a baller.
Yeah, 35 points. Just an outstanding game all around. He's been doing this on a consistent basis. In the I was having this thought in watching Cameron Boozer and that whole idea of, not all 5-star recruits are the same. That is an accurate thing to say. I believe in that statement.
But yeah, because I think Nick Hamina is a 5-star recruit too. So.
Yeah. But what I always have to take a step back and
And
what I always have to take a step back and remember is we don't really know these guys until they step on the court with the uniform on and we watch them play. I'll say this about Cameron Boozer versus Cooper Flagg and why I'm enjoying this a little bit more than I was enjoying the Cooper Flagg thing. We were told Cooper Flagg was the thing. And everybody was invested in making sure that the Cooper Flagg thing was true. And I'm not saying Cooper Flagg was a fraud. I'm simply saying that Cooper Flagg never really lived up to the excitement that people had foisted upon us. Okay. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
I remember, I forgot which game it was. I was at Cameron for this game and Cooper Flagg finally had that dunk. He had the posterizing dunk.
Pitt. Yeah.
It was the Pitt game. Thank you. I couldn't remember exactly which game it was, but that was the one I went, oh, okay, there it is. We finally have our Cooper Flagg moment. People have been waiting for it. He'd been efficient. He'd been putting up decent numbers. Clearly a guy that the NBA was going to want. I get all that kind of stuff. But when I watched it, it was so cool, so efficient, and there was no flair to the game that I went, okay, cool. Like, no big deal. And when he showed a little bit of a flash to it, even then, it was relative to what Cooper Flagg had been. Contrast that to watching Duke with Cameron Boozer. I'm not saying that Duke's going to go off and win the national championship. But what I am telling you is that Cameron Boozer is that dude, okay? Cameron Boozer is fun to watch. Cameron Boozer's making plays that make you go, damn, man. Cameron Boozer is that guy, which I appreciate watching. It's fun to watch this Duke team. Whereas I never really got that sense of joy watching Cooper Flagg play last season. So I don't know if that, all of this is to say, I don't know if that's an infectious thing as the season goes on, right? Because there's always also, there's the basketball to this and there's also the vibes to it.
Yeah.
And also the other thing about this Duke team versus last year's team, again, we get told these things, that this is the most talented group they've had at Duke in a long time. This is John Shire's 99 or whatever, you know, like all these types of things that go on. It's the teams that you don't expect that end up surprising you. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this might be this Duke team. Now, before Carolina fans jump in my mentions or Duke or NC State fans say something or whatever it might be, Virginia fans, whoever it might be, I get that. Duke has a national title aspiration every season. But follow what I'm saying here. Not all Duke teams, just like not all Carolina teams when they were running at their hottest, were viewed the same in what those final aspirations were. Last year was like a foregone conclusion for people. Final Four or bust. Not necessarily this year, especially with some of the parts that they are clearly missing. I still think that the front court could be a potential issue as the season goes on. But if Cameron Boozer is going to be that guy and get you buckets when you need to get buckets, which is something that Cooper Flagg struggled to do last year in crucial situations. I don't think they ever won it. What was the stat? They didn't win any of the games in which it was the final possession and he had the ball down to the Final Four.
Nope.
I can say confidently that Cam Boozer will be the guy who gets the bucket in a crucial situation in crunch time.
Important to note Caleb Foster's role in this game with 15 points and 8 assists, including a 3-pointer.
That's been your guy.
That was a dagger. And he's the one they need to be their third player. I still think Isaiah Evans is the second best player on this team.
Yeah.
Obviously, he struggled a little bit against Arkansas. That's going to happen when he plays super athletic teams. But there you are. I thought Caleb Foster was. Yeah, you couldn't have asked for anything more from Foster in this game, and it's going to serve Duke well moving forward.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Speaking of leftovers, you've had all the stuffing, all of the green bean casserole, all the mac and cheese, all the turkey, all the desserts. Clear them all out. You need to pace yourself. So may I suggest you go to Happy and Hail, get yourself a little roughage. It's going to go a long way. Might be like a stick of dynamite to your stomach to get things going, if you catch my drift. So start the reset. Go to Happy and Hail. You got to pace yourself this holiday season between Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It is rich food season. So go to Happy and Hail, mix it up. Get yourself a smoothie, get yourself a salad, get yourself a grain bowl. All great stuff at Happy and Hail. Check them out online. Download the app. Use that promo code OG25 to save 25% off your first order. And you can just order, grab, and go. All thanks to our friends at Happy and Hail. Speaking of the Canes, I would suggest
your Metropolitan Division leaders.
I would suggest that Canes fans mix in other sports once in a while. Just mix in another sport. We are in peak season right now. We got football. We got basketball. Mix in something else. Take a little bit of a break because sometimes I think we're gripping a little too tight in the natural ebbs and flows of the season. One thing that we didn't have time to talk about last week that I do think is worth addressing right now is that there were reports from Elliot Friedman over at Sportsnet that Andrei Svechnikov was not happy with his lack of ice time and that he informed the Canes that he would agree to a trade. And Canes fans, obviously, in the league started talking about this kind of stuff. Svechnikov, what was it, late last week? No, it was early last week. Well, during some availability over at, I think, Invisalign, quote, "It's been like that for the last few years, and I deleted my own social media a couple years ago, so I don't read it. Obviously, some of my family members told me, but I don't see it. To be honest with you, you just kind of close your eyes and you try to do your job because there's going to be talk sometimes in your hockey career. You'll be up and down, and there's always talk of up and down as well. You just try to close your eyes, play your hockey game, and focus on the hockey. Essentially just say, hey, man, all the stuff that's been out there about trade requests, yada, 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 I'm not looking at it. I'm not talking about it. I'm good. Here we're at. We're here, right?" And this all goes back to when he was sent to the fourth line. Remember, Svechnikov wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire early, to the point where I said, hey, man, it might be time to seriously consider moving Andrei Svechnikov. Lo and behold, we come to find out from Elliot Friedman reports that the tires have been kicked on that sort of thing. Now, asking around, this could just be your run-of-the-mill Svechnikov airing out some frustration. The agent picks up on this. The agent starts poking around, and obviously that's how it gets to Elliot Friedman. You're probably wondering, all right, Ovies, where are you going with this? Where I'm going with this is we are once again back in an interesting territory for Canes coverage that we're not used to a high level year in, year out consistency. We're not used to year in, year out them being cup contenders. We're not used to them being as good as they have been. So it only heightens the little things that pop up and flare up throughout the course of the season. Like, for instance, I thought it was ridiculous that there was all this discourse about Alexander Nikishin being a healthy scratch. What was it, last week or the week before? And it's like, guys, he's a freaking rookie. And there's some expectations that Rod Brindamore has as a head coach that he wants on a night-in, night-out basis. So on the very basic level of getting consistency out of Alexander Nikishin, yeah, Rod's doing what Rod's supposed to be doing as a head coach with a rookie, with a language barrier. There's also the fact that with all the injuries to the defense and kind of rolling through that depth, there's nothing wrong with giving a guy a night off, right? Or in the case of a rookie, if you want to get back to the rookie aspect of it, putting a guy upstairs to watch the game and go, all right, I see what the coach is getting at now. Tale as old as time, by the way, in hockey. I mean, how many times have we seen that situation play out? And then there's the Freddie Anderson sucks now discourse. My personal favorite.
I was going to say, we're going to get to this one.
We're getting to this one now. Freddie Anderson sucks. Kochetkov is hurt. Bussy is the answer. Bussy's Mr. Right Now. He's doing an excellent job. And the Hurricanes are once again finding a way to triage regular season wins. And it doesn't matter who. I mean, how many goalies did they go through last year? I lost track because they kind of went through this in the same boat, right? I am not going to sit here on December 1st and tell you, yeah, man, the difference between the Canes getting past the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be Bussy. No, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Just tip your cap and say, hey, man, this guy has stepped up in a situation where they needed somebody to step up in net. And through the ebbs and flows of the season, you're going to have some troughs and you're going to have some high-level play. And I'm not ready to sit here and throw out the goaltending situation and point to that as the reason why the Canes are not a cup contender. And I see what I'm getting at. So that's been kind of like the last 2 weeks. The Canes drama distilled into about, 3 minutes worth of your time. I think I nailed it.
So
I think I nailed it.
Freddie Anderson's record is 5-6-2.
I know.
Bussy 7-1.
I know.
Kochetkov 4-0.
I know.
We've only gotten Kochetkov this year
because he's been hurt.
No, but we've only gotten Kochetkov. There's been no Kochetkov this year.
It's true.
It's all Kochetkov all the time.
Thank you, Don Waddell.
So the other goalies are 11-1,
and Freddie's,
and the number one guy is 5-6-2.
Shit happens, man. Goalies voodoo.
It's context free.
Goalies voodoo.
Context free. What's fine.
I don't know.
Not a big deal.
Wait, are you buying into this?
Not a big deal.
Are you buying into this when it comes to?
Well,
Freddie?
I mean, I think who are you playing against?
Well,
right?
there's that too.
You want me to get into the schedule for the NHL too?
Yeah, no, there's an element of that. There's an element of that.
Are you playing against the Stars? Are you playing against the Avs? Are you playing against Vegas?
Yeah.
Oilers?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not like he's lost. Yeah, I mean, Buffalo wasn't great.
The Buffalo was not great.
So that wasn't it.
But Buffalo wasn't it. You scored one goal? You scored one goal against Buffalo?
Wasn't his fault.
Okay. Anyway. I think I distilled the last couple of weeks with the Canes.
Yeah, it's well done.
I think I did. Anyway. I saw on Reddit, just killing time scrolling Reddit. I came across the Kane subreddit, and it was like, is Rod on the hot seat? Like, what are we talking about? We haven't even hit December, and they're at the top of their division. What are we talking about, Rod on the hot seat? I clicked on it just to see, like, what are we getting at here? And they were already projecting into the Eastern Conference Finals. Y'all, if they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals, that's a good thing. That's success. You're in the Final Four. It just so happens that you ran into the Panthers on all-time heat of the last couple of years. It is what it is. What are you going to do about it? Relax, folks. Just relax. And finally, I did not watch the Cardinal Gibbons Garner playoff game. Was it Friday?
Yes.
Gibbons won?
They did.
Am I correct in this? That Gibbons won?
They did.
Okay.
Last year, they beat Garner in the playoffs 56-14. This year, they beat Garner in the playoffs 16-14. The Mighty Trojans had a 14-13 lead, but unfortunately, Gibbons on their last drive, Evan Windley kicked 3 field goals in this game, including a 26-yarder as time expired. So hat tip to Garner in their improvement this year. Hat tip to my guy, Christian Normandy, who I thought was outstanding, Garner's quarterback, who was outstanding in this game. Gibbons, though, just this much better. Really, really professional type operation on that last drive to get it down, move it down, all calm. You know, they look like a team who had been there before. Sometimes you lose a game that way.
Yeah.
Garner screwed up at the end of the first half. They didn't get points on a possession inside the 10-yard line. That hurt, obviously. But for the most part, they both teams played really good games. Just a remarkable improvement for Garner from last year to this. So we'll see what they can do. And we'll see what Gibbons does. I don't think this is a team that's been as good as they've had. But obviously, they've now reached the regional finals.
I'm here to tell you that the pumpkin roll with the cream cheese ice cream from Two Roosters was phenomenal. Still have a little bit left in the freezer. It'll probably not last the night. Next year, when Thanksgiving rolls around and you see the pumpkin roll on the menu with the cream cheese ice cream, do not hesitate. Get it.
If you ever see them offer anything with cream cheese ice cream, get it.
Get it. The
chocolate chess pie, ice cream pie.
really good. I actually sandwiched it on top of the chocolate chess pie that Kelly had made, the actual chocolate chess pie. And then I put the chocolate chess pie ice cream on top of it.
It's phenomenal.
There's a
pro move.
There's a reason why I'm on the struggle bus this past weekend. I mean, I had a few on Saturday. It is what it is. So go to tworoosters.com. It is December, which means they've got another new month of flavors. What have they transitioned over to? Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you? And I know they post this all the time. Very well done social media the other day where they had saying, did it work? Now I got you thinking about ice cream. And it worked. You got me thinking about ice cream. You got the peppermint crack bar ice cream. Chocolate peppermint base with pieces of homemade caramel crackers covered in chocolate and crushed peppermint. Reindeer tracks. I think you all can figure that one out. Chex cereal covered in chocolate. Peanut butter, powdered sugar, pretzel chunks, chocolate chips, mini peanut butter cups, red and green M&Ms, and a fudge swirl. Do you think I'll be getting that?
Yes.
I will be getting that. They got a gingerbread flavor. They got butterscotch haystacks. They got coconut and spiced rum and the non-dairy Christmas cookie.
It's got your dad written all over it. Coconut, smooth coconut with rum chata.
My dad would absolutely.
Cinnamon, nutmeg, and
you know what?
vanilla.
It'll pair nicely with Remy XO in a plastic water bottle. Pairs really nicely with that. So go to tworoosters.com.
Your dad's a real one.
He really was. Big thanks to Brassfield Accounting, fractional CFO. Maybe you find yourself like Giglio, you get paperwork sent to you. Like, what does this mean? I'm freaking out. You don't need that.
Please don't panic.
Don't panic. Much like the Canes goaltending. Don't panic. There's no reason to panic. Get yourself a fractional CFO. Contact our guy, Chris Brassfield, brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com. And of course, our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. Paid a visit to an OG in Hayes on Saturday night. It was good to see him.
Yeah, it was.
I appreciated the chicken supremes that were lying around. That was good. Mm-hmm. I needed those. So I appreciate that.
Biscuit. Yeah.
You smuggled
needed
the biscuit.
Needed it.
You did that. So
needed it.
Go check them out online at bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. Speaking of Saturday night, a lot of comments on the YouTube
I
from
still haven't
our
seen
After
them,
Dark.
so we're good. Can distract me.
You were still distracted. You kept coming over to my side of the high table so you could see the comments. You're addicted to those comments, man.
Well, when it's live, I mean,
so
trying to interact with our people.
Most of the reaction to Saturday night was about the interaction between me and a random woman who came up to our spot.
We still don't know who that was, right?
I don't know who that was. We had a lot when I was setting up the Roadcaster with the mics and all that kind of stuff. I had a lot of people coming up to me. One person came up to me and asked, "Are y'all doing karaoke after the game?" I was
that
like,
would be phenomenal, actually.
That actually would be phenomenal. Maybe we should do that next year. You know, last game of the regular season. See if Steve wants to allow us to. You know, Steve. And big shouts to Steve, by the way.
Yes.
Steve had
Great
everything.
setup. Oh my God, the oysters and the shrimp are ridiculous.
Yeah. Steve had everything that we needed in terms of equipment.
Of course, he's on the road this week. He's headed to Auburn on Wednesday
because he's a freaking sicko, right?
Whew.
So
Nuts.
I don't know who that woman was.
Okay,
I
don't either. She was not a regular,
and I have not gone back to watch it. I've only had a lot of people react to it. I think you did it, by the way, pro move on your part. You know what? No, seriously, it's like growth for you. I was impressed.
It was.
You pulled a me.
I did.
That you muted my mic.
Oh, hold on.
We're done here. You muted my mic so that wouldn't come up as I was trying to diffuse the situation.
Uh-huh.
But don't worry. The situation was diffused. There was no further incident. And we moved on. We moved on. Big shouts to everybody.
Shouts to Zach, though, for coming by with Victoria. Like, that was... we haven't had someone call their shot like that before.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, do I go to the game? And then he goes, and then he shows up. And I mean, that was phenomenal. So
I give a lot of, somebody had pointed this out to me and I agreed. I've been to plenty of these games and I would say that was twofold. The most stress-free NC State Carolina game that I've seen from the NC State perspective in a long time.
Yeah. Other than the Drake May game that I think people are misremembering already, but that's neither here nor there.
It's fine. I would say it was relatively stress-free.
But they still had Drake May, so you still thought in that game, hey, once they figure it out, they'll come storming back. Okay. So yes.
So this one was relatively stress-free. I don't really think I came into, outside of like some people on Twitter that were like, the game isn't over, Ovies, when they were up 28-10 at halftime. Okay.
Yeah, it was over.
It was over.
Yeah.
As you said on the podcast, at no point did you ever really think that North Carolina was going to get back into this game or was in danger of winning this game or getting over on NC State. I get accused of, not being a ball knower. I'm going to tell you, you're not a ball knower. If you watched that first half and you thought Carolina was getting back in this
Here
thing.
comes the miracle. Yeah.
That ain't happening. Not this team. To your point, if they had Drake May, sure.
Yeah, I see the difference.
But they don't got Drake May.
No.
Drake May ain't walking through that door. All right. So that was observation number one. Observation number two, as you said, Zach, of the Carolina fans that were there, you guys are troopers for showing up to that game. But you could also tell that we're just like friends. And where I was in section 120, you could tell it was like a group of friends that were just kind of jokingly giving each other drunk crap as the game went on, which is why we do this.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's all about. You were there with your friends that happen to be Carolina fans. You're going back and forth the entire time in a good, fun, jovial way.
And you go because if they do end up winning, you want to be there.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's why you go.
Ding,
and
ding,
if you
ding.
lose, so what? You kind of play it off like, hey, man, she's happy, right?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So big thanks to everybody who either said, hey, at the game, yes, I deserve all the shit that I got from a few people of like, oh, look who showed up. My personal favorite, I forgot who it was. They walked up to me and said, oh, I thought you and Joe didn't actually get along. Like you're actually here interacting together.
Was that Reynolds? It might
have been Reynolds, actually.
It's like,
oh, you guys actually hang out? I was like, well, yeah.
That was funny.
That was funny. So I deserve all the crap for having not gone to a game. So yes, that's fine. I've earned that. I've been busy. It's been a busy year, man.
Those junior canes, they
take my time up, man. They take my time up. All right.
Sweaties don't sell themselves.
This is true. Let's go to the sports phone one last time to close things out. Let's go to a 919.
Hello, G. Courtesy driver, 5:58 p.m. One more call. Lane Kiffin. I don't care how much he's reformed or does hot yoga. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, he's still a douchebag. There's a reason why he got left on the tarmac by USC when they lost and they said adios to that motherfucker. And now Ole Miss and Tennessee share something in common. Hatred for that douchebag. Good night.
Did not have courtesy being mad about Lane Kiffin on my bingo card, but respect.
I understand where the anger is coming from. And I know we've surpassed the 2-hour mark on today's podcast. I told you we had a lot to get into today. And I've been told by y'all, it doesn't matter how long the podcast is. So fine, I'm going to take you up on that. Trying to get over it, take you up on it. The podcast will go as long as Giglio stays awake. That's kind of my new rule.
Okay.
And I know where you're fading.
I know, but it's Monday, and I parked in the hot zone, and I
got a ticket.
Expired long ago.
I'm sure I got a ticket.
We'll see how this goes.
Well, yeah, we'll find out later. Anyway, we've gone 2 hours. We haven't brought up Lane Kiffin really. And I'm sure Dimitri and I are probably going to spend more time talking about this on OG Business, because I think the Lane Kiffin story isn't about the job. It's not about Ole Miss. It's not about LSU. I think there's other things that are more interesting than Lane Kiffin doing Lane Kiffin things. For instance, the PR job that has been done all year to completely reformat who Lane Kiffin is. I mean, love Ryan McGee at ESPN, and I'd love to catch up with Ryan McGee here soon. But he spearheaded a big part of this Lane Kiffin retrospective, this reformatting of his image, that he's not this guy that got fired on the tarmac. He's not this guy who got fired in the middle of a championship run by Alabama. Okay. Or Al Davis saying the worst as it relates to Lane Kiffin. He's a changed man. He does the hot yoga. He does all that kind of stuff. No, it was all image play. It was all image management. I also find it more interesting that the College Game Day set was out here advocating for what's the big deal, Ole Miss? If he wants to do both, let him do both.
That was a galaxy brain take by those people.
Well, again, I think that has a lot to do with...
And by him, because he was like, oh, the players wanted me to...
Did they? Did they? No. So I find that more interesting than Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin.
Sure.
I kind of know how this is going to end. Lane Kiffin's going to get fired by LSU because the machine's going to spit him up and chew him out. He's going to fly too close to the sun thinking he's clever. The dude loves mess. Well, guess what? You're going to the messiest place in college football. Let's see how that happens. Let's see how that plays out for you if you don't win. All your little cutesy, yoga stuff and your devotionals and all that stuff don't mean shit if you ain't winning at LSU, where Ed Orgeron has won a national championship, okay? So, and Brian Kelly, I think, was a better coach than you in terms of like actual football coaching, is a better coach than you, didn't win there. So it's going to be an interesting storyline as he gets to LSU. But this idea that he could coach at both places in the era of college football that we're in, where he's going to poach all these players from Ole Miss to go over to LSU, he's already got his coaching staff in place too, right? And Lane Kiffin has the audacity to be on out in the middle of a playing field with Marty Smith and acting like he's the victim. Like, no, dude, you ain't a victim. You created this bullshit, and now you got to live with it. You liked the mess. You made it messy. Now the Q score for you went back down again because you showed yourself to be the guy you've always been, a hot mess. I don't think it's going to work out at LSU, because I think we're beyond the era of these big name coaches that college football people are obsessed with actually panning out. I think Florida dodged the bullet in this situation, and they got the better coach in John Summerall for where Florida needs to be. And also, I think Ole Miss is going to be the true test of your theory to close things here.
Okay.
And we could probably spend some more time talking about this with other folks across college football. Ole Miss has the infrastructure in place. They got the NIL. They got the new money people. They're probably thinking, hey, man, we took you in. We helped with your rehab. We could do it again. And I also think it's interesting that the guy at On 3 who Lane Kiffin came at last week during the Egg Bowl about, like, you call me a hoe in there and see what happens. I'm like, you missed the point of what he was saying. He was using old rap lyrics to make a point. Can't make a housewife out of a hoe. And
why were they spelling hoe with an E, by the way? I was very confused by that.
Great question. You can't win a cup without a hoe.
That's right.
Aho.
Yeah.
Sebastian Aho, right? Yeah. So it looks like the guy from
there
On...
you go.
There. So the guy from On 3 ended up being right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You basically proved my point with the way that you've handled this kind of stuff, right? So the whole thing around Lane, to me, I think is more interesting about the periphery of Lane than it is Lane. Lane is what he is, right? I think it's more interesting that the college game day set was running PR for him. I thought it was more interesting that the confrontations that he was doing, were like all these things about the distraction. Dude, you are the distraction. You're not the victim. All those things I find more interesting than Lane actually taking the LSU job. And I know how that thing's going to end.
Can't wait to see how since we love to get our friends down in South Florida riled up, in Florida in general, our ACC friends in Florida.
Yeah.
Man, what is the committee going to do with Ole Miss? I mean, they told Florida State,
no quarterback.
Hit the road, Jack, because of Jordan Travis.
Yes.
What? They have to dock Ole Miss a few spots, right? Like, don't they?
No. You know why? Because the way Lane Kiffin did it made Ole Miss a sympathetic figure.
Say what you want about Lane. He's a good play caller. You know?
He's also messy. I got no time for that anymore.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. There was one other thing.
I think it would be hypocritical if they don't drop. Well, I'm not saying drop them out of the playoffs.
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like,
well, you're asking for consistency out of the college football playoff committee, and you're not going to get that consistency out of the college football playoff.
That's fair.
So
that's fair. Every year is its own thing.
They got their own people. They got their different chairs. They've got through 5 different chairs this year anyway.
Year alone, yes.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of them.
Where do I sign up to bet against them?
Also, I will say this too. The last point I'll make on this: the whole idea of like, well, blame the college football calendar. No,
calendar's part of it.
No,
the calendar's part of it.
You either want to see this thing through. If LSU wants you that badly, it can wait. It can wait. I
disagree.
You hire a damn general manager.
Yeah, you're right. There's probably a way to
there's other ways around it to make it work. And I know
I wouldn't let him coach. If I'm LSU, I wouldn't let him coach at you're in the same conference, you're a rival. I wouldn't let him do it.
Florida's letting Summerall do it.
Again, they're not in the same conference.
They're not in the same conference. They're not competing against each other. And that's the other thing too, in this particular case. I've seen the analogy enough times. Like, I'm leaving my partner of X amount of years.
The calendar is absolutely part to blame. Not for Lane's
not for
mess,
Lane, though. Not for Lane.
But the calendar itself, they need to fix that shit.
I don't know. We could probably spend some more time talking about this throughout the week, but I just the whole Lane thing to me is, and we'll talk about an OG business. The Lane thing to me is more about the business of college football and Jimmy Sexton and CAA than it is anything else. But we'll cross that bridge later. Anyway, 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. Y'all said you don't care. Find out. Better see those YouTube numbers up, baby. I kid. We'll see y'all tomorrow.